In this video, we are going to work with a map so that the user can select the location of the movie theater that it is being created. For that, we are going to use a library called Leaflet, which is a free map that will allow us to do just what we want. As you can see here, we have an example of the map. We have a marker here and the map here. We can interact with it. I can zoom out, I can zoom in, and in general, it is a pretty good map that will allow the user to select the location of the movie theater. In the case of Angular, we have a library that makes it easy for us to work with Leaflet, which is called ngx Leaflet. And this is the one that we're going to use. So let me come down here to the tutorial so that we can install this library in our Angular application. So I will copy this npm install Leaflet, and I will come to Visual Studio Code, and I will open the terminal and I'll paste the command. I'll press enter, and this is done. Now let's go back, and now let's install this one. Let me paste that here, press enter, and this is also installed. Finally, let's come here, and since we're using TypeScript, we can use the Leaflet typings. So let me paste this here and enter. And that's it. Now we can minimize the console, and I want to go to the app module because I need to import the Leaflet module. So let me come here and I will say import from asymmetric ngx Leaflet, and let me get a module, Leaflet module. I'll copy it and then I'll come down here, and in here I will paste it. And so we have Leaflet in our application. So what we're going to do is that we're going to create a component that will encapsulate our map. So let me open the console and I will say nggc utilities /map, and I will say skip test equal to true, and I'll press enter, and the component has been created. So I will open this and this and this, and I will minimize the console, and let's get to work. In order to use a Leaflet map, we need several things. The first one is going to be a div. This div is going to be the map. Now I will configure the dimensions of the map, so I will come here and I will say div. I'll say width 800 pixels and height 600 pixels. Now let's come back here, and in order for this to be a Leaflet map, we have to say here Leaflet. And now let's make some configuration here in the class of our component. Let's come here, and I'm looking for some initial configuration, which is this one. I want to select this and paste it here. There is an attribution here. We can write something like Angular movies. Let me put this in another line. I'll click on here, Control dot to import this, and also Control dot here to import this. Now I need to pass these options into our Leaflet map. So let's come here and let me say Leaflet options equal to options. And before we make a test, we have to do two things. The first one is going to be to come to our movie theater form so that we can add our map here. So I'll say app map. And the second thing that I want to do is to go to Angular JSON because we need to import some CSS. So let's come here and let me go back to here because there is something here that we need to copy, which is this. Let me copy this and we will paste it here. And now I will save everything, but since we modified the Angular JSON, it is advisable for us to come here, Ctrl C to stop the Angular process, and ngserve-o to run it again. And now let's come here, and as you can see we have the map, and as you can see we can interact with it. I can zoom in, I can zoom out, and so on. In my case, I want the map to be centered here in my country, in my city. So let's do the following. I want that when I click on the map, the latitude and longitude gets registered. And also I can see that we have a margin issue here, and we should have a title for the map. So let's do those two things first. Let's start with the header. Let me come here and we're going to say h4, select the location of the theater. I will save. Let's come back here. That is just fine. So let's come back here and now let's work on the CSS of the map. I need to come here and I will put a margin bottom 1 rem here, save, and this is also fine. Now let's come here, and now let's work on a click event for our leaflet. Let's come here, I will say here leaflet click, and I will say here handle map click, and of course I will pass an event, and I will copy this, and I will come here, I will minimize the console, and let's paste this here, and I will say event leaflet mouse event, which comes from, this comes from leaflet. Now let's come down here, and I will get the latitude and longitude, so I will say latitude equal to event dot lat lg and latitude, and the same for longitude event lat lng, and now I will just console log them. Let me say console log lat and long. Now let's save everything, and let's come back to Google Chrome, and now if I press F12 and I click on here, you can see that we have the latitude and longitude of the place which I click. So now I will use that information to come here to my home country. Let me come here, let me zoom in. I will keep zooming in, and I want to click on here, for example, and now I will use this to configure the center of my map. Of course, you can use your own city, but in my case I will use this one, so I will paste this here, and also I will copy this, the longitude, and I will paste it here, and now I will save, and now, as you can see, by default I have Dominican Republic as the center, though the zoom is not okay, so I can play with that. I want to configure a zoom so that the map starts here. So let me come here, and we have zoom 5. I will choose something like 14, and let me save. Let's come back here, and as you can see, by default we have our city here. Now something that I want to do is that if I click on here, for example, I want to put a marker on the screen. A marker is this figure that we have here. So let's do that. For that, we're going to use a layer. In Leaflet, a layer allows us to have figures on the map. So I will create a property here called layers, which is going to be an array of marker. So let's say marker here of any type. This is going to be an array, an empty array by default. And now in here, I will say layers dot push, and in here I will say marker tap, and I will pass as a parameter the latitude and longitude. And now I can come here, and I can come here, and I can say leaflet layers, and I will pass layers. Now let me save, and now let's come back here, and now if I click on here, you can see that we have the marker, though if I click on here also we will have the two markers at the same time. I don't want that, so let me come back here, and let's come here, and what I will do is that I will say these layers equal to an empty array. Now let me save, and let's come back here, and now if I click on here we have the marker, and if I click on here we only have this one marker, and so on. Now that we have our map here, we can use it to pass the information of the longitude and latitude back to our for group. We will see that next.